The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cellcast. Joining me today, wait, don't you say rewind?
Yes.
You didn't jump in.
No,
so
I
prove
didn't. I got too caught up doing the goofy salute. Sweet niblets.
Joining me today, just leave that in. Joining me today is a man who's just tired of all the red. Welcome to Jacob.
It gets everywhere, and it's like it just. Yeah. I'll be like, can it be blue for once? And it's like, darn commies. Why? Thank you.
Why does this now sound like we're talking about Sleeping Beauty?
Why? Thank you. Let me use our co-host. The man would, to quote a famous little bat, kicker, sir. If you're welcome, sir. Welcome, jerk.
What? I didn't even follow that.
Bar talk.
I know it was bar talk. I didn't follow what you said.
Okay.
Something about the kicker?
And a kicker, sir.
Kill her? Is that what you're trying to say?
Kick her. I'm trying to
Kick her. I get
kick
it.
her.
But why? I
And
don't
kick her, sir.
I don't remember him ever saying kick her.
Did it's like when he first really meets Rasputin again, and he's like, it's like hiya, and I kick her, sir.
Yeah, that. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Bartok. He's so much fun. Minus the apparently on my version.
You like Hank Azaria, huh?
I've always liked Hank Azaria in some capacities. You're like, that's a lot of fish.
That's the wrong guy.
I know, but it's the same. He's in the same movie. Broderick. I know that.
Hank Azaria's not even in that scene.
I know, but he's in the film.
He is in the film.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah, the best Godzilla film there is. You're welcome, Nate.
I don't think Nate cares that much.
I triggered Drew.
It is Beast from 30,000?
Thousand?
Yeah. Beast from 30,000 Fathoms is what that's more a remake of than Godzilla.
Okay, then.
You don't even know what that is, I bet.
I've heard of it, yes.
It's basically that story.
Okay. Gotcha. This show's episode.
We're just off the walls, rough rails
Rambling.
already. Yeah, today we are doing a rewind review of Anastasia, the very first film that Jacob and I disagreed on.
Yay!
I apparently originally was not a fan of this movie. We'll see how I feel now.
Did he just not like the bat?
We'll get into that. It had nothing to do with the bat that much, but we'll get.
Did you
to
not
it.
like Puka? Puka's like the best dog. What is your problem?
There was one point where I was convinced Puka was Rasputin in disguise. But we'll get to that because it wasn't, and that may have been an issue. Like I said, we will get to it.
Yes.
So, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and jump into the spoiler-free section of our review?
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Third viewing for me.
Third, okay.
The first being a very long time ago, and the second time being the previous episode. I watched it last night after I helped you finally get everything out of that apartment.
And I appreciate it.
Jacob moved people.
Yeah, I did. Finally, I got everything moved out of the old apartment.
So I was a little tired watching it last night.
A little.
A little. I don't know why I'm doing my Russian accent because we're not talking about Wreck-It Ralph.
But we are talking.
But we're not talking about Anastasia
in a Roman
right?
film.
The Romanovs.
The Romanovs.
Dead. All the Romanovs are dead. They literally are.
Sad, but yes.
Sad but true.
Stupid Red Army.
And not the Red Ribbon Army.
No, not the Red Ribbon Army.
But anyway, so yeah, the first time I watched this film, I was young.
Okay.
And perhaps a little bit, I don't want to watch that. It's for girls. Kind of an outlook on it.
Fair.
And I think that had festered in my brain until we watched it for the review last time. And while I did give it as clean a review as I could at the time, I am also fairly certain I may have been a little more cruel than I needed to be. And perhaps me being tired has probably made me a tiny bit more forgiving. But we will see. It's really not that bad a film. I will say it's not my kind of film.
Fair.
But it's not really that bad a film. So
That's true.
What are your thoughts on this?
My thoughts on Anastasia. So I remember watching this. Oh, I can't remember where. I think it was on Disney or somewhere like back in the late.
Very easily could be
in the late 90s. And so I remember watching it. It was like, wow, I thought this was really good. So again, I told the story before, but I'm gonna I love retelling the story. So at that point, I was in college. I was like, college is now defunct.
Now tell us how you really feel.
Oh no, that's a rant.
We don't have that kind of time.
That's a rant for another day and another dollar. Lawnmowers College. Rest in peace.
We do not have the time.
No, we do not have the time. But so I was in college. I think I was in college. I think I was. No, I was in high school. This was the early 2000s. This was like around 2000.
Right.
So the art club, which I was in, surprise, surprise to nobody in high school, that we went to the Dallas Art Museum, and then we went by Grapevine Mall.
Yeah.
And, back in the day when they had everything, when malls were still a thing.
Wasn't the Dallas Art Museum like downtown Dallas?
Yeah, it's downtown Dallas.
And then you went to Grapevine Mills Mall.
Yes.
Which is probably a hour-long drive over there because it's just north of DFW Airport.
I think. Now, I could be misremembering because this was over 20 years ago.
Well, at the time, I would not be surprised if y'all went to Grapevine Mills Mall at all because that was the big mall. That was the one everybody had to go to.
Yeah.
But I'm just sitting here logistically thinking, if I were planning out a trip to Dallas with a bunch of high school kids, I think I'd have gone to Town East. It's a lot closer.
So either or. So I started going around looking at stuff, and kind of when I was a high schooler, I was kind of a loner in some ways, but everybody knew me. So I go.
You've always been an extroverted introvert.
Yeah, agreed. So I go into, I think it wasn't Virgin Records. It was one of the, I can't remember.
Like FYE.
Yeah, it was like
I don't think that was around the time. Maybe it was Suncoast.
Maybe
Suncoast was the big thing back then.
Yeah, I think it was an FYE. I think I could be wrong, but so I get in there and I'm running with a very limited budget. So at the time, I had a VHS player. So I look around. It's like, ooh, be like, oh, this movie's here. Oh, it's not this. Oh, it's this price. Okay, I'll grab that. And I grabbed like a handful of films, including Anastasia, in I think it was a VHS like clamshell.
Yeah.
So we'll get back to the bus and we're all like, hey, Jake, what'd you get? So I'd be like, hey, I pulled out Gunwing Endless Waltz. And they're like, yeah, that's awesome. And then the next one was like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, Anastasia. Boom. It's like, you suck, Jacob. You like bought a girls film and all the girls are like, oh, I like that film. Like, Jacob, you suck. I still get a kick out of that story. But so I had that for years, and eventually I got rid of my VHS collection, which in some cases I really wish I would have kept some of those.
Right.
Because some of those might be worth money nowadays in the right market. But so I wound up buying like the VHS, the DVD copy of it, and then I got again. I probably watched this movie like several times over. Did the review for the first time, and I got the copy I own now from Disney Movie Club, which
is so weird that you got a 20th Century Fox film from Disney Movie Club.
Yes, that was after the acquisition.
Right.
But
rest in peace, Disney Movie Club.
Yeah, that is going away, I think, in May.
I figured it was already gone.
No, it's at the end of May. Or it's towards the beginning of May, they're going to shut everything down, but I think you can still order. But so I got this version, and it's so much better, so much cleaner, so much. The sound is better, and it's like, yeah, I've watched this movie probably like 5 or 6 times before.
Yeah,
and I still enjoy it. As a reviewer, I see the flaws in it, but I still enjoy this movie. It's such good storytelling and everything else. But I'm so interested where Drew's opinion has changed, or has this movie hardened his heart even more towards this movie.
I don't hate this film.
I know.
It was just like the first thing you have to remember, folks, that first couple episodes, I didn't know how. I really didn't know how I wasn't a good reviewer yet.
Yeah.
Neither one of us really were.
No,
we were kind of just figuring out. And I think at the time I was more of the thought, okay, I don't like this film, so I need to be harsh. I'm not quite like that anymore.
No.
And plus, so many people have said, oh, you were too hard on this film. It's like, I'm sorry, folks. It was my opinion. I don't have nostalgia for this. But anyway.
Yes.
We will.
Yeah, we shall see.
We shall see how this is all going to turn out.
Through the course of the review is figure out, because I already know what I'm reviewed this. You already know. We're not going to tell each other what it is until the very end of the review.
I don't remember what I rated this.
But you know what you're rating it now.
Basically.
Okay.
Where I'll have a definitive answer by then.
Okay.
One of those things.
So, shall we begin?
Why don't we? The following is a spoiler-filled review for the film Anastasia. Listener discretion is advised. Anastasia was directed by Don Bluth, who also directed The Secret of Nim and All Dogs Go to Heaven. It's also directed by Gary Goldman, who helped Don Bluth on those previous films I just mentioned. Plus, also Don Bluth helped him on Rockadoodle and Thumbelina.
Oh my gosh. Again,
had to list the good and the bad.
Yes, we reviewed that film. Go check it out.
We reviewed all 4 of these films.
Oh yeah, we did listen.
Yeah,
we have done Rockadoodle.
Yes, and you thought I was nuts for liking that movie. Getting into the cast, we got Meg Ryan as Anya / Anastasia, and in Sleepless in Seattle, she played Annie Reed.
Yes,
the love interest.
Yes.
John Cusack plays Dimitri, and in Con Air, he played Agent Vince Larkin. Kelsey Grammer is the voice of Vladimir, and of course, he is Dr. Fraser Crane in both Cheers and Frasier.
Yes.
Christopher Lloyd is the voice of Rasputin, and of course, he was Doc Brown in Back to the Future.
Great Scots.
Hank Azaria was the voice of Bartok.
A kicker, sir.
And he was Gargamel in the live-action Smurfs films.
And also a Godzilla film.
I was not going to mention this. Bernadette Peters was the voice of Sophie, and she played Rita in Animaniacs.
Oh.
And Angela Lansbury played the Dowager Empress Marie.
Oh my gosh.
And she was Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. And a slew of amazing roles.
And the lead on Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
Kingdom Hearts connections. How many we got?
3?
Yes, 3.
Wow, I'm right. Wow.
However, this is the fun part. Here's a bit of trivia. When we originally reviewed this film, we would have only had 2.
Oh.
We've got a 3rd in here that's brand new.
Wow.
Starting off, Angela Lansbury, who also reprised her role as Mrs. Potts in Kingdom Hearts. Jim Cummings, who was the singing voice for Rasputin.
Yes, I noticed that.
In Kingdom Hearts, he played Pete, Captain Justice, Captain Dark, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Ed, the Cheshire Cat, and Julius. And no, I can't remember who Julius is. I think he's one of the guys in the Hercules level.
Possibly.
But anyway, last but not least, our newbie, Christopher Lloyd. He, of course, was Rasputin in this.
That's right.
And he is the third voice of Lord Xehanort because that role is cursed. It killed Leonard Nimoy, and it killed the second guy whose name I can't remember.
Wow.
And now it's killed. Well, it's not killed Christopher Lloyd yet, but I'm just going. Please survive, Doc. Please.
Yeah, and plus he might be at a Comic-Con we might be going to next month.
At least wait. Don't leave.
Don't say that.
Don't leave us until July.
You are terrible.
What do we got in info and stuff?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm still drinking. I'd be like, yeah, Doc.
I actually don't want Doc Brown to die at all, but yeah, I mean, he is getting pretty old.
Yes, but he's a very, very good actor. Anyways,
he also played a Klingon.
Yes, and he played a lot of really other good roles.
A Klingon whose spaceship in the next film took our heroes back in time, so it's still a time machine.
Yes, and also he was in a film that we reviewed years ago, and I think we re-reviewed this. I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
We haven't re-reviewed it, and it's not on our re-review list because that's after we.
That's right. That's right.
Current thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! All right,
Rutger Hauer. That was the second voice of Lord Xehanort.
Ah, okay. So
yeah, Christopher Lloyd voiced him in the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So, info and stuff. IMDb has a 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has an 84 based on 58 reviews. Production was Fox Family Films and Fox Animation Studios, distributed by originally 20th Century Fox Studios, now 20th Century Studios. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 34 minutes. Its release date was on November 21st, 1997 here in the States. For box office, it had an estimated budget of $50 million. Its opening weekend here in the United States and Canada was 120,421 on November 16th, 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Its U.S. gross, this is sad, was $58.4 million. Now, the international was much better with $139.8 million. All right, so going into home release on April 28th, 1998, and March 16th, 1999, Anastasia was released on VHS, Laserdisc, which I did not realize that Laserdisc had lasted that long into the late 90s.
That is around the time it started to actually get replaced by DVD. At that point, Laserdisc was the luxury format because it was still a better video than VHS.
Yeah, I agree.
And it took a while for DVD to really supplant it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Let's see. And VHS sold over 8 million units. The film was reissued on a 2-disc Family Fun Edition DVD with the film in its original theatrical 8.35.1 widescreen format on March 28th, 2006. The first disc featured an optional audio commentary by directors and writers Bluth and Goldman with additional material. The second included a making of documentary, music video, making featurette, and Anyas, who was a R&B rapper back in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Her version of Journey to the Past, and additional bonus content. The film was released on Blu-ray for the first time on March 22nd, 2011, with the inclusion of Bartok the Magnificent in the featurette, in which I didn't know I was actually watching that on this particular Blu-ray,
mm-hmm.
and it's produced, it's directed by Don Bluth, and that's an interesting film. Let's see that. All right, streaming. So following Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox on March 20th, 2019, Anastasia became available on Disney Plus in the United States It was removed from Disney Plus on March 1st, 2022, and transferred to Stars on March 18th. Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, the film's disappearance bears no connection with the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine.
No, it had everything to do with the fact that 20th Century Fox had deals with Stars and other places that while they were able to get it on Disney Plus for a short amount of time as they were pushing Disney Plus originally, a lot of films that were already spoke for with these deals had to leave temporarily and then come back later.
Yes. All right. Disney suspended theatrical releases in Russia, such as the forthcoming film Turning Red, which led
That's hilarious.
Yeah, agreed.
We are no longer releasing a movie called Turning Red to the communists who are red. They're not communists anymore, technically, but...
Technically. Which led to confusion that Anastasia's withdrawal was related. However, eventually Anastasia would return to Disney Plus on June 2nd of 2023. There is no information of a sequel of any type or kind. I don't know where they would go with it if there was a sequel.
I have no idea where they would either.
Technically, a sequel would be in Bartok the Magnificent because it's Bartok and Bartok is from the original film. So it is kind of a tie-in sequel in a way. I haven't heard really good reviews of Bartok the Magnificent. I saw previews of it and I thought it was pretty good. And then I watched a snippet of it. It's like, wow, this is not... Anyways,
I had a feeling that, well, at this time with Disney, as you remember, they were releasing these, what's the best word to describe them? Not very well made, straight to VHS sequels.
this would have been Fox.
I know. But because Anastasia was basically 20th Century Fox trying to have a Disney princess. Yes. This does follow all the Disney princess tropes.
Yeah.
I wonder if Disney's putting out all these straight to VHS sequels, we ought to do the same.
Yeah.
That's my theory as to why Bartok the Magnificent exists.
That makes sense.
Because while I have not seen it, I strongly suspect it was never intended to go to theaters.
Oh, probably not. Probably not.
So
that is all I have for info and stuff.
All right. Getting into the summary. So I have a quick question before I get into this, because you are the history nerd.
Okay.
When did St. Petersburg become, was it Stalingrad first or Leningrad?
Leningrad.
Leningrad. When did it become Leningrad?
Hold on, I've got confused. Hold on.
Or
St. Petersburg was initially created by, I can't remember the Tsar's name, but he wanted to be part of the Industrial Revolution that was coming on at that time.
Yeah,
and he wanted to bring Russia into the 20th century, or I think it was, or the latter part. He was wanted to bring Russia into the modern age, and so he wanted to build St. Petersburg on a swamp,
right?
And wind up killing a lot of innocent people in the process. Now, granted, this was the past, but St. Petersburg has always been St. Petersburg.
I thought it was renamed Leningrad at one point.
Possibly. I might be like
after the revolution.
Possibly.
In fact, Wikipedia has pretty much told me that it did. I'm just trying to find the date now.
Oh, okay.
Since you didn't answer my question.
Oh, okay. You asked me a history question.
Yeah, and it's like you got so close. Okay. It was in 1924. This movie is technically taking place
in 1928 or 26.
2 years after it should have been called Leningrad.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. It makes sense in the first part that it would still be called St. Petersburg.
Well,
but now it should be Leningrad.
Well, okay, so here's the thing with that scene is because you have more
of those signs would not have had a chance to come down yet.
That's true.
She was.
And plus, you're working, be like the people who we were talking with are the conversations we're hearing. We're hearing from the peasants. We're hearing from the lower class, the working man and woman. and they would still call it St. Petersburg.
I get that. It's just that was one of those things where I was watching the film and going, shouldn't it be Leningrad by now?
Yeah, it should be Leningrad. Thanks, Lenin.
Yeah. Okay, so during 1916 in St. Petersburg, Russia, at a ball celebrating the Romanov tricentennial, Dowager Empress Maria Feodorovna bestows a music box as well as a necklace inscribed with the words "Together in Paris" as parting gifts to 8-year-old Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia. And I probably mispronounced all of this. My apologies.
Close.
I am not good with my Russian. That is her youngest granddaughter. And played by Kirsten Dunst, by the way.
Yes.
The ball is interrupted by Gregory Rasputin, a former royal advisor turned sorcerer exiled for treason. He vows to Tsar Nicholas II that his family will be killed with a curse. Rasputin sells his soul in exchange for an unholy reliquary, which he uses to start the Russian Revolution. I'm sure the Russian revolutionaries love that. Yeah. As revolutionaries besiege the palace, Maria and Anastasia escape through a secret passageway aided by a 10-year-old servant boy named Dmitri. Rasputin confronts them outside on the frozen Little Nevka River, but falls through the ice and drowns. As Maria climbs aboard a moving train, Anastasia falls, and hits her head on the platform, separating her from her grandmother and apparently giving her amnesia. 10 years later, in 1926, Russia is under communist rule, and there are rumors that Anastasia may have escaped her family's execution. Hearing of this, Maria offers the public 10 million rubles for her safe return. Now a con man, Dmitri and his partner in crime, Vlad, search for the Grand Duchess's lookalike to bring to Paris so they can falsely claim the reward. Inspired by the inscription on her necklace, the actual amnesiac Anastasia, now going by Anya, leaves the rural orphanage where she had grown up and begins to search for her family, accompanied by a stray puppy she names Puka. Anya heads for Paris, but finds she cannot leave the Soviet Union without an exit visa. She is advised to see Dmitri at the abandoned palace for help arranging travel papers. There, the two men are impressed by her resemblance to the real Anastasia and decide to take her with them to Paris, with Dmitri convincing Anya that they are trying to reunite her with her grandmother, unaware of Anya's true identity. Watching this meeting, Rasputin's albino bat, Bartok, notices the reliquary revived by Anya's presence. It drags him down to Limbo, where he finds an undead Rasputin confined. Enraged to hear that Anastasia has escaped his curse, Rasputin sends demonic entities from the reliquary to kill Anya. They try to sabotage the trio's train as they leave Leningrad. I like how they changed that.
The Leningrad.
By overheating Beulah the train engine. The train had a name?
Apparently.
And later tried to lure Anya into sleepwalking off their ship while they headed to France. The trio unwittingly foiled the attempts, forcing Rasputin and Bartok to travel to the surface to try and kill Anya himself. During the journey, as Dmitri and Vladimir reteach Anya court etiquette and her family history, she and Dmitri begin to fall in love. The trio arrive in Paris and see Marie, who has given up the search after having met numerous imposters. Despite this, Marie's first cousin and lady-in-waiting, Sophie, quizzes Anya to confirm her identity. Though she gives correct coached answers to every question, Dmitri realizes Anya is Anastasia when she vaguely recalls how he had helped her and Marie escape the palace siege. Sophie, also convinced, arranges a meeting with Marie at the Palais Garnier, where Dmitri tries to get Marie to see Anya, but she refuses, having heard of Dmitri's scheme to con her. Anya overhears the conversation and angrily leaves. Dmitri abducts Marie in her car to force her to see Anya. She agrees when he presents Anastasia's music box. As Marie and Anya talk, Anya begins to regain her memories before she and Marie sing the lullaby the music box played. Marie offers Dmitri the reward money the next day, recognizing him as the servant boy who helped them. But Dmitri declines it and leaves to return to the Soviet Union. Why? At the celebration for her return, Anya is informed by her grandmother of Dmitri's gesture, leaving her torn between staying with Marie or going with him. Anya walks off to the Pont Alexandre III looking for Puka, where Rasputin entraps her, while Bartok abandons Rasputin. Dmitri returns to save Anya, but is attacked by a Pegasus statue enchanted by Rasputin. Anya crushes the reliquary, avenging her family and releasing the demons inside, who turn on and destroy Rasputin. Anya and Dmitri elope, and Anya sends a farewell letter to Marie and Sophie, promising to return one day. Meanwhile, Bartok falls in love with a female bat, while Bartok bids the audience goodbye. Getting into the trivia. In real life, Olga really did say that Anastasia's drawing looked like a pig riding a donkey. Mm-hmm. This was stated by Anastasia in a letter to her father, and the image used in the movie is a reproduction of the original picture. Mm-hmm. The real Anastasia once wore a dress exactly like the one Anya wears in the last scenes of the movie. The same dress was seen in Anastasia 1956. The Parisian bridge on which the confrontation between Rasputin, Dmitri, and Anastasia occurs is the Alexander III Bridge, named after the real Anastasia's Romanov's grandfather on the occasion of his state visit to France in the 1870s. The music box in the movie existed. It was given to Anastasia by Marie Feodorovna on her 13th birthday, but was silver with a ballerina on top. The portrait in the ballroom of the whole family includes a spaniel. The spaniel actually existed. The spaniel named Joy belonged to Anastasia's brother Alexei and was found alive at the house where the family was killed. Anastasia's own dog, Jimmy, however, did not survive.
Oh, poor Jimmy.
In the early storyboard version, the ending was slightly different. Anastasia was worried on not seeing her grandmother again. Her farewell letter made no mention about returning to Paris again, resulting in Marie, and especially Sophie, to bemoan on not seeing Anastasia again. However, the filmmakers felt that the audience would lose sympathy for Anastasia for abandoning her grandmother unexpectedly and considered it too bittersweet. In real life, Gregory Efimorovich, aka Rasputin, was a very controversial figure who in fact was the Romanovs' advisor and Tsarina Alexandra's most trusted confidant. Rumor has it that Rasputin told the Tsarina he was about to be assassinated and that if one of her relatives killed him, all of the Romanov family would die within a year. While of course these facts were too dark to be included in the film, there is a reference. During the song A Rumor in St. Petersburg, an old woman tells Dmitri to buy Count Yusupov's pajamas while offering a pair of ragged clothes. Yusupov who actually was a prince, really existed, was indeed related to Alexander Romanov, and was the one who killed the real Rasputin along with a group of noblemen. And that's all I got for trivia.
Wow.
What's your first like for this film?
My first like would actually be the story itself. I mean, obviously it's fiction. It's a fictionalized version, and I'll get into my dislikes about that later. But I really enjoy the fact to be like you have this princess who is lost, and to everyone be like, oh, she must have passed away, and rumors that she's still alive. And you get all this very intricate storytelling of Anya. She's trying to discover who she is. And this whole story is literally just flooding towards her. And you get Dmitri, you get Vlad. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad.
Vladimir.
You get this like amazing cast of characters. Puka, of course. Rasputin, which I love his performance beyond belief. By the amazing Christopher Lloyd. Great Scott. And Bartok. I mean, like it's a great cast. It's a great performance. And it's got this very amazing story, amazing storytelling where our characters are just going through this amazing journey, and it's a journey of discovery for everybody in the story. And it has this very nice little tight conclusion that kind of leaves it up to the imagination what happens afterwards. So yeah, it's the story. Be like, I really, really enjoy the story. So what is your first like?
My first like for this film is the music. All of the this being a musical, it lives and dies by the songs.
Agreed.
And actually, all of the songs in this are pretty good for this particular movie.
Agreed.
You've got In the Dark of the Night is a great villain song.
I love that song. Love it. Love it.
This may hint at a later dislike, but it does play so much better on a CD than it does in the film. A Rumor in St. Petersburg.
Yes.
This thing feels like it could have been an actual musical. A stage musical, I mean. And I actually kind of want to see a stage musical version of this. Don't know how you'd work Bartok into there, but it would be interesting.
They've done weirder.
I know they have, but I really enjoyed the songs in this one. It's a great soundtrack. But yeah, we'll get more into that later. What's your second like?
My second like would be, let me get to my notes. I got distracted. Speaking of songs, be like, the songs are amazing in this. Be like, I love The Dark of the Night. I love that song. Oh my gosh. Because they're going to be like, I love the performance and everything. The song that got me was Once Upon a December.
Good song.
Yeah, good song. It'd be like,
okay, just short story. Let you get back to your thing.
Yes.
I actually knew the song long before I saw the movie.
Really?
Because I don't remember who it is, but there was a country artist who sang the credits version.
Yes.
And her music video on this played on Great American Country, the CMT knockoff channel that we watched all the time. And every Christmas for 10 years, dancing bears, blah, da, da. This is not a Christmas song. I don't know why we're singing it here other than the word December's in it.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, that's how I know this song.
Oh, okay. So I was looking for the soundtrack to this movie. There actually is a Broadway musical.
Good.
Yeah.
It probably is not owned by Disney now, but
probably not. But oh my, that's the Once Upon a December. Like, obviously you get it played throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
But the point where it got me, like watching this for this review, was the point where she's in the old palace. She's in the old palace, and it's more, but like she breaks into the song and be like the ballroom comes alive with everybody, and she's singing the song, and then her father, Nicholas II in ghost form, comes up and starts dancing with her. That hit me. I was like, oh my gosh. Be like, girl, if you didn't know who you're dancing with. And it just hit me so freaking hard. And then of course be like, it's like, hey, what are you doing here? Breaks the whole enchantment. But that entire scene is so beautifully lit. It is just, it's lit. Dude, it is lit beyond belief. But just like, it's lighting and camera angles and the use of CG. And they're so freaking beautiful. And now watching it, like, as a much older adult and an older man, I want to say I'm old, but as an be like, I'm a lot older than I used to be. Let's say right.
I get what you're saying.
Yes, but oh my gosh, it was so moving. And when the Romanovs come out of the painting and be like, are just watching her, and she dances with her deceased father, and I was like, oh, that hit me to the core. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it was just a beautiful scene. The song is amazing. And yeah, if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it, people. It's amazing. And you can watch it on Disney Plus. Go watch it. That's what I forgot to tell. We're gonna watch it. Disney Plus.
You didn't watch it on your disc?
I did watch it on the disc.
Oh yeah, I watched it on Disney Plus.
That's why I forgot to put the mention. It's like, watch Disney Plus.
Yeah. Okay.
But I watched it on my Blu-ray. But overall, it's like, yeah, that scene just hit me in so many freaking ways. It's not even funny as like just the visual storytelling, the cinematography, the CG use, the use of the 3D camera. Yeah. And I don't want to say it was like one of the first films to use CG to actually able to move into a scene. But
I'm fairly certain Disney had one or two that technically predate this.
Yes.
And I'm thinking one of those might be Hunchback.
Yeah. Again, it's around the same time.
It's around the same time.
Yeah, because
the CG is still very dated at this point.
Yes, it is still dated.
I'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Once Upon a December in the Royal Palace. Was so good. And of course, our main guy had to come in and ruin it, but it's done so well in so many ways, get so many feels. Yeah, I just enjoy that scene so well. So, what's your second like?
So, I'm gonna lead off of yours to connect into mine.
Okay,
but that particular shot there where she's dancing in the palace. That is the money shot I feel for this movie.
Oh yeah, you're not
That's
kidding.
the one I remember from commercials and trailers for this.
Yes.
And it is very well done. I love the fact that she's the only person with a reflection in the floor.
Yes.
And this is one slight disappointment I have with that scene. I was really hoping there would be a shot of her while she's in the dress, where you could see her reflection in the floor. And I really wanted to see if they had reanimated her in her regular clothes for the reflection.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, they never do that because that's probably on purpose. Because that would be more work for a detail not many people would notice.
That is true. But the detail in this movie is so so good.
But it's the CG that makes that work.
Yes.
And there's actually a lot of CG in this film, far more than you would think. And honestly, the CG here, despite its dated feel, works really well.
It does.
They worked with the limitations the CG had and made it work like very well. Things that would make sense that it would be stiff and not moving is a lot of what they use it on. But there's a couple parts where they used it on like the demons, I believe. Some of the demons were, and the train was definitely CG, and it in a way kind of gives it a bit of an otherworldly feel in a way that enhances like the mysticalness of like the demons and such. So I thought, okay, that's cool. I can see how it might be distracting for other people, but the way they use that, knowing it was not what it would be even 5 years after that.
Yes.
It gave it just the feel of, it made it feel just enough. It used the uncanny valleyness of it to its advantage.
Agreed.
Because it wanted you to be a little not really uncomfortable with it, but wanted you to be a little creeped out about these things where it made sense. Now I know the train was CG, and that was just because they had to shave some money off somewhere, and that would have been a lot faster to do that. But it's done very well there too, without feeling too janky or anything. But yeah, how they use the old style of CG in this, I thought was brilliant. So yeah, the CG is my second like.
Okay.
What's your third?
My third like would be, oh my gosh, Christopher Lloyd's performance as Rasputin. Oh my gosh. Because one, be like, Christopher Lloyd he is a character actor through and through. Like he puts himself to like any character he's ever done. He just like envelops the entire character, becomes the character in a way. And Rasputin is no difference. There's no difference in this because he is this, what I recall watching the special features, that they wanted to make this three personalities kind of merge together with, and I remember correctly that Don Bluth was the kind of coaching. It took him like 20 minutes to get into this rhythm of manic, laughing, but an insane character. Yeah. Like over the top, crazy kind of character. And you have all three of those like emotions within Rasputin and within, a couple of frames even in some cases. But it's just Lloyd's performance. Overall, it's just like whenever he shows up in the ballroom in 1918. 1918, 1917.
1916.
Yeah. Thank you. 1916. Thank you. But just like his performance, be like very level-headed, be like, I am this evil character and I'm going to destroy the Romanovs. And to the point where he's just like his crazy side, then he gets this very wacky side, and then it's a manic side, and it's just so well done performance wise. Like oh my gosh, wow, just the performance, the way they designed Rasputin, because he kind of looks like what Rasputin looked like in real life, but it's a little more exaggerated, it's a little more cartoony, because this character was designed to be a little more cartoony.
We'll get into my opinions on that in a minute.
Because there was a very interesting thing that Don Bluth said during one of the commentaries, that there's a unique difference between a cartoon and an animated film. Because a cartoon character can get blown up and walk away from it.
True.
Animated character, most of them be like they're giving more realistic physics. They're using more of a like a human based model. So your character is going to get hurt. So with Rasputin, he was kind of that amalgamation between a cartoon character and a animated character. So I like that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to
Yes.
dislikes, because I have an opinion
Fair.
of why his choice of making the character cartoony is probably not a good one.
I thought it was a good idea, but
We'll get to it. We'll get to X's explanation here in a minute.
yes. But I'll be like, I enjoyed that aspect, but also I enjoyed Christopher Lloyd's performance as Rasputin, and the way he was the villain. He wasn't one of these characters that just cackles and like he's kind of the background for the most part, but then he comes to Paris in order to deal with it himself.
Yeah.
And I love, because there's so many times when the big bad is be like, oh, he's just looming in the tower, you never see him, and he pops in, he's done for in a second. Where Rasputin, it takes a while for him to kill him.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that, because you have a really threatening villain, and he's throughout the entire thing. He's not this character who just again looms in the shadows. And I've got the sense that like we're gonna have a disagreement on that.
Kind of. We'll get to it.
Okay.
We'll get to it. I'm trying not to say anything because I want to save it.
Got it. All right. So that is my third like, which is Christopher Lloyd's performance as Rasputin.
I agree with you on Christopher Lloyd's performance as Rasputin is very good. And probably the best performance in the film.
Yes.
And had you not picked Christopher Lloyd's as one of your likes, he would have been one of mine. But in all fairness, so we can have a much bigger discussion.
Yes.
I'm going to do what would have been my fourth
Oh,
for my third,
really?
since you already kind of took my third.
Okay. You're welcome.
My third like now is actually going to be Kelsey Grammer's performance as Vlad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because now, granted, his design is very much
Yeah. Very cartoony.
well, it's very much Don Bluth's Fat Russian. Like,
Yeah, it is.
It's like the only difference between him and Papa Mouskowitz in American Tail is that Vlad's not a mouse. And
Very true.
And Don Bluth has used that general character design in so many films.
Yes, agreed.
So that aside, I will say that the one thing that always impresses me when you are with a voice performance is when you can't tell who the voice actor is.
Yes.
Especially when they're a major actor like Kelsey Grammer is. I did not realize until about halfway through this viewing of it. I'm fairly certain I knew it the last time we reviewed it.
You did.
But I did not realize on this viewing until halfway through it that was Kelsey Grammer.
Oh yeah.
I was watching, and I'd seen Kelsey Grammer's name in the opening. I was like, I wonder who he's playing. And then I'm watching this and going, who is that voice? Because he does that role so well. Now, once I realized who it was, oh yeah, and then I could see, I could hear the Kelsey Grammer at that point. But until that point, it's like his accent was spot on. He had changed his voice just enough that it wasn't obvious, but he was still able, it was so well within his range, and he did such a good job playing Vlad as being pretty much the only person on Anya's side who's still also on Dimitri's side. And he just does such a good job.
Agreed. And to like a little bit of trivia, he's the only voice actor to do his singing part.
Yeah,
Because
he actually can sing.
he can actually sing very well.
Yeah, he can sing very well.
Extremely well.
So yeah, he's the only one of the people they didn't have to hire a singing voice for. So yeah, Kelsey Grammer just does such an amazing job on his particular on Vlad.
Yeah.
I really appreciated the work he put into it.
So I want to bring up kind of like a bonus, because you kind of touched on a little bit of the Don Bluth magic behind it.
Yeah.
Don Bluth's magic of making things dark. Oh my gosh.
We may have a difference of opinion here in a minute.
Okay.
But continue.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring this up kind of like a bonus fourth in a way, because Don Bluth is known for making very dark kids movies. Because we've reviewed most of them.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I think the list of Don Bluth movies we have not reviewed can be counted on maybe one hand at this point.
That is true.
Maybe two. And there's a couple of us like, oh, this is after he lost his way.
Yeah, that's true. But I've always enjoyed where you have an artist, because that's what Don Bluth is, an artist. Mm-hmm. He's an artist director. And you just find like when you can push the envelope when it comes to not trying to scare your audience, but more of the using dark elements and dark themes of definitely when you go into the underworld. You go into the underworld, you go into hell where Rasputin.
I think it's technically more of a purgatory, but
okay, purgatory. Let's go with purgatory then. Go with a purgatory like dimension where Rasputin is rotting away. And it's just the how everything is drawn. It's got this very dark, gloomy tone to it, and I always have the kind of appreciation when animators, directors are willing to do something a bit darker, a bit more. It's like, okay, this could scare the audience, but it's worth it. And there again, I see where there's a dislike there. I see that.
We're going to have a disagreement about one little thing here in a minute, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
So you don't you say you love In the Dark of the Night, right?
Yeah, I think the song is amazing.
Yeah,
I think Jim Cummings' vocal performance. Is amazing.
It is. Okay,
you want my dislike?
Okay, let's go to your dislike. What is your first dislike?
Because I was just your bonus like.
Yeah, my bonus like.
My first dislike, I'll just go ahead and touch on this. As you just said.
Okay, then.
Don Bluth is known for making some very dark, scary imagery.
Yes.
We have, as an example, examples I can easily cite, the owls from The Secret of Nim and Rockadoodle.
Yeah.
Plenty of other things. It's like, makes you go, holy crap.
It's Secret of Nim. It's just a dark film.
Yes. The Tyrannosaurus Rex in Land Before Time.
Shark Tooth.
Dog Hell in All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yes.
I don't remember what that was actually called. But
yeah.
And then you get to Rasputin.
Okay. Here it comes. Lay it on.
Rasputin is too comical to be scary.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I totally get it. I do.
I was for a zombie wizard who has sold his soul to the dark forces, because Fox probably wouldn't let him say hell.
Yeah.
Or Satan or the devil or whatever.
You're right.
Or unholy probably. But for somebody who should be the epitome of the worst of humankind in terms of, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He is so comical, it's not even funny.
But I like the comical. It's so good.
But it's not scary.
I know, but it's this weird.
Rasputin should have, as the villain of this, should have been as scary as Maleficent, as scary as Ursula.
Okay.
That's what this is a Disney princess film knockoff. That's what it was originally created as.
Yeah.
Don Bluth is using all his knowledge from having worked at Disney for Fox to make a Disney princess film for Fox. Basically, that's what it is. He ought to know that the evil queen, the wicked stepmother, the Maleficent, Jafar. You name any Disney film, Scar, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
All of these great villains, even though they are, granted, they are not cartoony.
Yeah.
I think there are some cartoony aspects to them.
Agreed.
But they are scary. They are meant to I'm not going to say they're going to make kids wet their pants.
Right.
I don't think they're that scary. Well, Maleficent might be, but I don't think they're that scary.
Right.
But that is really how I feel Rasputin should have come across. Granted, I am not expecting Black Cauldron.
Fair.
I'm not expecting that.
I don't think anybody's
that.
expecting
That would have been too much.
Yes.
Obviously, because it was too much for Disney.
Yes.
But release the Rich Berman cut, by the way.
Thank you.
I just said
Berman.
Rick Berman. That's the guy who created. That's the guy who took over Star Trek from Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Release the original cut of the film, Disney. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
But as crazy as Christopher Lloyd's performance is, as great as In the Dark of the Night that song is, you get to the actual visuals in that, and I'm going, wow, the edge is gone, because the backup singers are bugs.
Okay.
And not creepy bugs. They're cute bugs.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm like, am I supposed to take this song seriously, or is this a parody now? I mean, it's a great song. It's like I said, it plays great in the car.
Yes.
But you pair it with the visuals of this film, and I'm going, it's not as good. It's somehow diminished.
Okay.
Somewhat. For the performance that Christopher Lloyd turned in for this, I mean, it's just the comedic bit, his lips falling down his beard while still talking, while there's still a hole where his mouth was. You think that should be scary, and it's not, because he decided to make it cartoony. I'm not saying you could not have done a scary, cartoony character starring Christopher Lloyd. You want to know why I know that's possible?
Yeah.
Judge Doom!
Agreed.
That is a cartoony character who is very scary.
Yes.
And Rasputin gets nowhere near that. Granted,
I get it.
Maybe there was some fear that, because Rasputin does still have family. There are people, for those who don't know, when you go and you watch a film, and at the very end in the legalese it says the people in this play are purely fictional, no depictions of any persons living, or any depiction of, that legalese. It's at the end of everything. That is because of Rasputin, because someone made a Rasputin film back in the 1910s or 1920s, and they sued.
The family of Rasputin
Rasputin's family sued, and now legalese at the end of everything, including based on true films with real people in it.
You have to put a disclaimer.
That disclaimer is still in it. It is required, because none of them want to get sued by somebody, because it is a fictionalized account, because all movies are a slightly fictionalized, if nothing else, account. Even if it's a documentary, there's going to be some massaging.
Yeah.
But
good or bad.
But that's Rasputin's. That is the fault of Rasputin. You get right down to it. It comes back to him.
I did not know that.
Yeah. And and the thing is, maybe that is the reason why they didn't want that, why they had to have Rasputin be the villain, of course. That's the shtick of this story, but they didn't want to put him in how much worse a light can it be that when you've sold your soul to the dark forces? But maybe they wanted to ease the edge off a little bit. I don't know, but I'm sitting there going, if this were a Disney villain, he'd be the worst one, because he's, in my opinion.
Okay, fair.
And there may be a couple more I'm not thinking of that are definitely more not intended to be the dark, evil, for evil's sake villain.
Right.
Because this Rasputin is definitely, I'm not saying the real Rasputin was like this, but the Rasputin in this film is definitely an evil for evil's sake revenge story villain.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what that's the goal here, right?
Agreed.
And he's just not scary. Don Bluth has done so many better, scarier villains.
Okay, fair enough.
And so I guess when you get right down to it, this supposedly being his Disney princess film villain, and it being Don Bluth, should have created something that would scare the pee waddle and doodle out of anybody who watched it, and still be a kid's film. because Don Bluth can do this.
Yes.
And I'm watching it going, good night. Wile E. Coyote is more serious than you are.
I get it. I do get it. I do see where you're going.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah. And I agree with you in some ways that, you know, this version of Rasputin isn't exactly a terrifying character to us, because he's supposed to be more of a comedic character.
I will grant you, my viewing of this character is solely from the point of view of somebody over the age of 20.
Okay.
Because I didn't really see this film until that point.
Got it.
So I don't know how I would have reacted as a kid. I will say this is no Tim Curry as the soul of pollution, whatever his name was in Ferngully. Oh. Also a Don Bluth film. No, that wasn't Don Bluth.
No, it's not.
It could have been.
Yeah.
It animates like a Don Bluth film, even though it's not.
Right.
But anyway.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not gonna fight you on it. I think it's more. It's a good observation.
And I get it's a stylistic choice. He had an idea in his mind of how he wanted to portray the character, and how he could make it make sense to where he could bounce back so many times.
Yeah.
But he's a zombie. It should be more than this.
Yeah.
It should not be cartoony. But that's my opinion. If you disagree, I understand.
Yeah, which is totally fine. We all have the right to an opinion, our right to agree to disagree.
Yes.
All right. So that's
your first dislike.
Excellent. My first, I'm going to switch the order around that I had. The third act seems a little rushed because
I'll grant you that.
Yeah, it's more like, okay, Anastasia Anya discovers who she truly is. And
they remembered, oh yes, we have to deal with Rasputin.
Rasputin. And I love the scene, but it seems like there should have been a little more time, a little more buffer between it. But they just be like Anastasia just be like, she just wanders off. Next thing you know, she's outside, she's on this bridge. Boom, there's big bad Rasputin. And but it seems it's very rushed to get to the very end of this film, because they had all this great build up storytelling, and it seemed like they just ran out of time, and they had to figure out, how do we get Rasputin and Anastasia together to finally get this final bout, to the end. And it just seemed a little bit of coincidental in a way.
Yeah.
It was a bit too much more rushed or forced, but it's like that's more of a nitpick of the trying to conclude your story and not properly, because obviously they introduce how our characters intersect, but that one little section where they actually do meet for the first time in 10 years it's so disjointed of how they do it. And so kind of the third act it doesn't damper the story, but it's just kind of we got to get here, so we got to rush it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the Russians have to rush it.
The Russians got to rush it.
Okay.
In Paris.
Yes, in Paris.
All right. So what is your second dislike?
Why does Dmitri want to get back on the train to go back to St. Petersburg?
That makes no sense. I agree.
Why? You escaped. Wasn't that the whole 90% of the point of you trying to get Anastasia to Paris? Was partly so you could escape Russia? Because it was obviously going communist, and y'all were already tired of all the red, as you said in that one scene. Why did you want to go back to St. Petersburg? You're free.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe the idea was, if we sat here too long, we'll get deported back to Russia, because they did technically cross the border illegally. Technically
they did.
But at the same time, and granted, Anastasia would have been getting diplomatic immunity as a foreign royal.
Or maybe she doesn't. Maybe she doesn't recognize her royalty and just goes back to Anya. Maybe,
but I mean, in the context of the way the story went, by the time he makes the decision to get back on the train and walk out of her life, I understand why he wanted to walk out of her life. I applaud his thinking there, even though it's wrong.
Yeah.
But Of all the places he could leave her life, walk out of her life and go to, why Russia?
Why go to St. Petersburg?
Why St. Petersburg? Why? Go somewhere warm. Go to, I don't know,
England.
If you're going to go back to Russia, why the USSR?
Yeah,
I should specify that because that's bigger.
At that point, it's USSR.
Go somewhere where it's. Where was it they held the Olympics in Russia last? Sochi.
Yeah, Sochi.
Go to Sochi. It gets warm. Go there. Don't go to Ukraine. It's going to have some trouble later. But
it would.
Long after. But either way,
long after.
That may have not been a good joke. But anyway,
no, it wasn't a good joke.
But go to Sochi. Go to Sochi. It's warm there. Why are you wanting to go back to St. Petersburg?
So here, I agree with you.
I understand it's home.
Yes.
But home is not very welcoming at this point in history.
Yeah. So I want to point out where, be like,
especially if he's not on the communist way of thinking.
Yes.
It's only going to get worse for him.
Yeah. It's called being thrown into a gulag.
Yeah. So why would we go back to Russia?
So in the first song would be like, St. Petersburg was something to talk about. And I forgot his name. Terrible.
Whose name? Dmitri?
Dmitri. Thank you. I forgot his name for a second. Dmitri. Be like they're singing about like him and Vlad, or be like, to finally be able to leave St. Petersburg and be able to see and have the people have something to talk about them leaving St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
And the idea would be like he wants to escape St. Petersburg, be like he doesn't like it there. And then at the end of the movie, he wants to go back. I didn't ever caught that until you said that. I was like, whoa, that's a great insight, because I
don't know why.
It makes no sense.
Grant,
he always wanted to escape St. Petersburg,
right.
So why would he go back?
And the reward he didn't take was 10,000 rubles. I'm fairly certain. I don't know if the currency changed when Russia became the USSR. But I'm fairly certain maybe the ruble might not have been worth as much. Now, it could have been. I could see the Empress changing it for the franc at the time. And Dmitri could have done the same thing, probably. Especially if, well, more than likely, she probably doesn't have that money in rubles. She probably has it in like diamonds and such. So it would have had to have been sold. But either way, that's just doesn't seem like it'd be very spendable unless they were using the ruble much long past that.
So my second dislike,
you want to go to a place with a Russian name? Go to Odessa, Texas.
Odessa, Texas.
Odessa is a Russian name.
That is true. Yes, go to
where it's gonna never be cold.
That's true. Come to Texas. Come to the middle of the state where there's a huge. That's German. Sorry,
you got to go past the German part of Texas to get to the
Russian part of Texas. That is true. Anyways, my second dislike would be, not granted, this is a nitpick, the historical inaccuracies.
Right.
Again, this is a fictional story,
and I'm fairly certain this was an argument we had in that first episode.
We did. I did go back and re-listen to the episode, and some of it is very cringy to listen to.
We were new.
We were newbies.
We were babies.
Yeah, very new baby podcasters. But oh my gosh, obviously we know, sadly, all the Romanovs did pass away. Be like the Anastasia, the youngest daughter, did not survive. But obviously there had been rumors for that for decades after that.
Oh, those rumors were up into like the 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yep, in the 90s. But
even though they had already found the body.
Yeah. Well, they found the Tsar and Tsarina's children, or at least two of them. They found two of them back in like 2000, like the early 2000s.
Right, but one of the bodies I remember they did find was Anastasia's.
Yeah, they did find eventually the Tsarina's the prince's body.
The
Duchess. But it's I love how in this film they do point to how Rasputin did die, because he did drown in a river, even though he was poisoned, shot, stabbed, like every other imaginable thing, like nearly hung at some point. But what killed him was drowning. Like, this man was nearly invincible to a lot of people. Or they said, but like, I think he died from hypothermia or something like that. He didn't die from the water. He died from hypothermia. Like, jeez, what a beast of a man to survive all that. Just the dying of.
There's a reason they thought he was unholy.
Yeah.
And had sold his soul to the devil.
That is true. And they just played on that. But yeah, it's just like the little, like, and my thing is just like, wait a minute. It's okay. You just. There's really not a whole lot I can complain about because it's a fictionalized story that has been played over and over again.
And like I'm fairly certain I said on that original episode, this is not meant to be based on the actual history.
No, it's not.
Of what actually happened to Anastasia and all them. This is based on the fictional accounts that have in the stories and the rumors that have cropped up over the years. Mm-hmm. And we had that discussion. It's not worth getting back into.
We did. Like even in the first song, it's like have you heard the?
Yeah, it's all about rumors.
All about rumors. And I do have a theory about the very end of the film, but I'll get to that at the very end. But yeah, it's just like I always bring up the historical inaccuracies, but there again, it is a fictional story, so it's a nitpick.
Right.
So what is your third dislike?
Yeah, this is my third dislike.
Yeah,
sorry. It's like, wait a minute. I was after. No, I'm before you on dislikes now. Yeah. Okay. My third dislike for this. I really felt. Okay. Getting into what you said about the third act feeling rushed. Mm-hmm. And I agree. It is rushed.
Yes.
There was a point in there where it really felt like so Puka leads her into the hedge maze, right?
Yes.
Why is Puka heading into the hedge maze? What is driving him into the hedge maze for Anastasia to follow him?
I have no idea.
Especially since he's no longer wearing the fancy clothes they'd put him in for the party.
Uh-huh.
So, and I was watching this time, I kept thinking, that's not Puka. That is Rasputin in a disguise leading her into the garden.
Okay, fair enough.
Or leading her into the hedge maze. And it felt like it was playing that way the whole time until she picks up the dog and the dog does not immediately turn into Rasputin to scare the living crap out of her.
Yeah.
No, Rasputin walks in off stage.
Yeah.
And it's like, really? What's Puka doing here? Why did Puka come out here? What is Puka's reasoning for walking through into this hedge maze? What is Puka looking for? Is Puka somehow, because it's a non-sentient creature? There's a difference between intelligent and sentience. That's that's all I'm meaning to say there. I recognize this dog is very intelligent. Mm-hmm. Is it because he's a non-sentient creature, he's more susceptible to Rasputin's control? Because of Rasputin's powers, why is Puka here? He had no reason to leave the palace.
Okay.
If Puka followed Anastasia and then Puka smelled something and then curiously bounced off into the hedge maze and then she ran after him to stop him, I could go with that. But he walks determinedly like he knows where he's going.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
What is he doing? Especially if you're not going to do this is actually Rasputin in disguise, or Bartok being forcibly disguised into Puka. That would have been an interesting thing. It's like, ay, Chihuahua. And you could,
that would be frightening to watch.
Exactly. We're coming back to my first dislike here.
Yeah,
it's all rolled together because Rasputin does not. I already mentioned that. We're not getting into that. I'm not rant mastering. This is not worth that.
Okay.
Because this is all nitpicks.
Agreed.
Even my thoughts on Rasputin is kind of a nitpicky. It's just like I would have preferred it this other way. But
non-rant master activated.
Why is Puka going into the hedge maze? I get why Anastasia followed him. I get that that's the point of him going into the hedge maze, is to get Anastasia away from the party and off to where Rasputin can kill her. But why does he herd her to the bridge?
Yeah.
That happens to be named after her grandfather, which the movie didn't talk about.
No.
I only know this because of trivia. Granted, if you know anything about Paris, you might have recognized the bridge and go, oh, that's clever. And I do think it is clever. But why did Rasputin want her to go there? He could have this, and this would keep the mystery alive of what happened to Anastasia. He could have drug her into hell there.
Could have.
What was Rasputin's plan besides, I'm going to kill her? It's like, first off, you wanted to kill her after she'd had her day in the sun. She's not having her day in the sun. She's already decided she doesn't want it. She wants Dmitri. And granted, you got to get it where Dmitri can help her. I get that when he shows up out of nowhere.
Where?
Why did he know to go to the bridge? This is all part of that rushed thing you talked about. It just feels like they realized at the last minute, we've got to finish the Rasputin part of the story before we finish this. We can't just leave it here, despite the fact the core of the story is done. We've just got to deal with the roadblock that keeps popping up. Because that's all Rasputin is in this, is a roadblock. He's not, that's why I don't think of him as a villain, really, as a scary villain. He's a roadblock. And
that's a new one.
That's a new one, yes.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know what to say. This is not worth Fly Me to the Moon or Jiminy Crickets. This is just like a razzle frazzle crackle.
Kate Mully.
Razzle frazzle frazzle. Anyway, it's not a good Muttley laugh.
No.
But yeah, I was just like, I don't understand Rasputin's plan in the end.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Puka got her out there, and I don't understand how Dmitri knew to go to the bridge and not to the party.
Yeah, it was this weird, just be like,
it's like everything happens at the last
characters
minute.
comes together for no reason.
I just don't understand. To use your favorite dislike that you pull up when I don't even think it's necessary. There's a lot of plot convenience.
Yeah.
That we're just supposed to accept.
Agreed.
And it all feels like it's coming after the climax of the film. Because this is supposed to be it's after the emotional climax of the film. This is supposed to be the active action climax. And yeah, it does that, but I'm still looking going, this really feels like y'all threw it together at the last minute. So yeah, that's my third dislike for this is I don't understand anybody's motivations or plans in the last in the end of it.
Yeah. Oh, I agree.
After I quit understanding the plot after it was very obvious she made her decision to go find Dmitri.
Yeah.
At that point, I don't know what the crap's going on anymore.
Yeah. It kind of just falls apart.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't even call that the third act. I'd call that the epilogue. Because the story is over. So
here's my thought when you brought the point, this nonsensical plot convenience. Like you say, I like to use the word plot convenience sometimes. So here's my kind of idea. Just run with me, shall we? So
I don't know if I can do that. You run pretty fast.
Okay.
And I'm out of shape.
We can work on that.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
But it's okay. So you have Puka just runs out and she's trying to find, Puka, and like runs through this maze in the whole bed. And then all of a sudden there's Puka. There's another Puka. Like Puka somehow got out there, and
it's like things.
Or here's a better one. Be like that. Bartok got a hold of Puka and then got transformed into Puka. And then makes the switcheroo.
There's so many tiny things they could have done to make it acceptable, and they did none of them.
Or like you said, it's Rasputin in disguise, and be like she realized, and then he be like, you see the slight metaphor-station and be like that real grand villain reveal that I've lured you here. Be like, you have fallen in my trap.
Talk about something that could have redeemed this villain performance in my eyes had they done it.
Yeah,
I could live with the goofiness before that point if you made him scary in the end, and he's not even scary in the end.
Yeah,
he's never scary.
Fair. So going into my third dislike of the film, it is like, again, it's a nitpick. It's some of the CG doesn't really work. because there again, it is the late 90s.
Yeah.
And CG is still they use it very well throughout this entire film.
But there are a couple places where it's a little...
It's a little crunchy.
Yeah.
A little crunchy here and there, but that overall the CG's done very well in the film, but some parts are like you said, a little crunchy. But yeah, it's my third. Like, now I do want to throw this one theory out there to the audience, and let's see if it sticks in some way. So there's something that Angela Lansbury said during an interview for this film, and it's something she said along the lines that what we think happened. What we think's happened to this version of Anastasia. So my thought would have been is like when Anastasia and Dimitri go off, is that Anastasia no longer, she goes back to being Anya, and kind of doesn't forget her former life because she sends her grandmama a letter.
Right.
So I'm thinking that she kind of gave up that right and became just her and Dimitri went off together and got eloped.
Yeah, I'm with you. She would have given up that life after that point. My problem is not at the end of it. It's not that how it ends. It's that last lead up to it.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it was more of what happened is like obviously they got eloped, but there again, the whole reason you don't hear about Anastasia in there again, because she, renounces that name and becomes Anya again, and just, moves on her life with Dimitri.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. I think it's a really good rational explanation of why.
I can see how that would make sense. It closes the time loop.
Yeah, because of the time loop, and you don't. Because I can see where the Grand Duchess would, kind of explain that, like, oh, this was a mistake. My grandmother.
We realized that this was not her at the last minute. We've taken care of her in the Russian way.
Yeah, the Russian,
whatever that is.
Yeah, the USSR way. She got thrown into gulag.
Tsarist Russia.
Yeah, Tsarist Russia.
Whatever the Tsarist Russian way was to take care of her.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought it was like, okay, it makes sense. It'd be like like you said, closes the time loop to where you don't have this be like, and they explain it away. It's like, oh, this wasn't really the Duchess or the princess. So it closes all the time loop, and Anya and Dimitri. I always forget his name. I'm sorry. Dimitri can go live there happily ever after. So makes sense to me. It's a cellcast theory.
Yes. Now, can I throw an interesting observation your way?
Okay.
This is a movie about a young woman who does not realize that she is actually the long-lost princess who is saved by a dashing rogue, perhaps with a smolder. You know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
In which they fall in love. And eventually, the only real difference in these two stories I'm bringing up is Anastasia gives up the royal life, while technically Rapunzel goes in on it, but makes it her own. So
yeah. I
find this interesting how, without realizing it, two of your favorite, I don't know if this is your favorite movie, but how much this actually has in common with Rapunzel Tangled.
Yeah.
It's just kind of odd.
I gotcha.
Which makes it odd that the movie, that the ballet that they are performing, the Russian company is performing, is actually Cinderella. Which, the movie Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country?
Yes.
Do you remember the part where they're trying to find the magnetic boots, and they find one in Dax's locker?
Yes.
And Chekhov says to him, "Perhaps you'll know of Russian epic named Cinderella. If shoe fits, wear it." And they look down, and he's got hands for feet.
I remember that.
I'm fairly certain Cinderella is not Russian, because that's the joke in that one. Because Chekhov thinks everything's Russian.
That is true.
But anyway, sorry. That thought crossed my mind.
Okay, fair
watching
enough.
That thing's like,
fair enough.
Cinderella.
It's been a while since I've seen that film, but I remember that scene very well.
That's my favorite Star Trek film.
Okay.
But yeah, So we need to rate this
Yes,
thing.
get in the score.
And first, you need to tell us what we rated this.
Well,
Yes, you do need to tell us now.
darn it.
Do not try to. Like I said, I'm fairly certain I know what my rating is right now.
Okay.
If for somehow I rated it lower, I will own up to it.
Okay.
But
All right.
I am curious what I rated it.
Okay. So in the original episode, I rated it an 8.
Okay.
I gave it an 8. Your score was a 5.
Okay, I feel a lot better now.
Okay. So what is your score now?
I'm actually giving it a 6.5.
Wow. Okay. You went up a whole point and a half.
I went up a point and a half. I still have like a couple of smaller issues with this. This is not a film I am particularly a fan of because A, I'm a guy. B, I don't have I have no nostalgia for this. And C, I don't have a little girl to fall in love with it.
Okay.
So I have nothing really to make me push this film.
Just wow.
Like I said, I have nothing against this film. In reality, it's just there's a couple other little story things we didn't bring up that I'm not a big person on.
Okay.
But they kind of just pushes this down even farther because it's paced slightly weirdly. The plotting is kind of in some spots.
Weird.
It's still a good film. Do not get me wrong, but there are things it could have done differently that would have made it, I think, better. And the simple fact that this is the only reason I don't count too harshly against that is unlike every other Disney princess film, this is a mostly original story.
True.
Because it's based on everything after all the Romanovs get killed.
Yeah.
Is original.
True.
Unlike Cinderella, which is completely based on the story. Sleeping Beauty, based on the story. Snow White, based on the story. Yes, they made little changes here and there and made it softer so that, you don't scare the kids with like the evil witch having to dance in hot metal shoes until she dies.
Yeah. Very true.
But this is an original film, and I applaud them for actually making a pretty decent story. Like I said, if you put this as a stage musical, and apparently it has been done, I actually think it would play better than as an animated movie.
Okay.
And the animation that we have is okay. It's just you get right down to it, the whole package, and the fact that that the Rasputin here is not scary, not because of performance, but because of the decisions made in the animation of it. It just gets it right there at 6.5. So,
got it.
What are you rating it?
I'm giving, because originally I gave it an 8. I'm going to give it an 8.5 because I still love this film. It's so great. I can see the flaws. I can see the third act kind of falls apart, and kind of the plot convenes where all the characters merge into this one scene for no reason. But I still enjoy it. I still enjoy this film tremendously. And again, I probably watched it a handful of times already.
Right.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. So I've kind of bumped it up because it's not nostalgic, because I just see the artisan come through with this film, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, 8.5.
Now, I don't remember. I do remember when we talked about this film originally, I think I did not like the Shopping in Paris song.
Yes.
When I watched it this time, I happened to notice that the art style in the background on that is Vincent van Gogh's. And I was like, oh, that actually does look cool. So there's another like for you.
Yes.
On that note, we need to play our intermission.
No, we got to figure out what we're watching next.
Yeah, next week.
And we picked this early this week.
So that's the funny thing. When I wrote up the schedule, I left out this Friday. I was thinking when I was doing this, I was apparently too interested in making sure we were covered while I was gone. Because we are going to miss 2 episodes at the beginning of May, just so y'all are aware. Or middle of May, technically. But next week, we are reviewing The Road to El Dorado, a film we've been meaning to put on the list. Neither one of us have seen.
No.
And is apparently well liked, so we'll see if we like it also.
Yes.
So join us next week for that. We're going to hit the intermission. We're going to talk afterwards. We're going to talk about what we've been watching, some news, because I know there was some news
Yes,
this week.
there is some news.
And some Spy Family. The other half of this Anya fight.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out the Retro Rewind podcast. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind podcast as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect further fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco Paul and a rotating group of guest hosts who are all out of time. And yes, I chose Francisco's podcast because we did just do a Disney Princess movie that's not a not actually owned by Disney. You're welcome, Roy. The Cellcast would also like to thank the following patrons: Ashley and Francisco Ruiz, Book of Gaming, PaulJPowers.com, and the Monster Island Film Vault. If you want to have your name shouted out on the show, special art from Jacob, uncut episodes, for a limited time, exclusive reviews of X-Men 97, and for an additional $5, force us to review something within reason, and that reason is not quality. You can donate to us on Patreon. Please check the show notes or the cellcast.podbean.com for more information. So, Jacob, I have a question for you.
What have you been watching?
Oh, okay. So you're going to find this interesting.
Oh?
Yes, because you alluded to something a minute ago. I watched Tangled.
Was the wind in your hair?
Apparently.
You had to watch something while you were unloading boxes, didn't you?
Yes.
For those who don't know, last Saturday,
Yes.
I caught this guy. I helped move this guy out of his apartment
With a few others.
to another apartment.
Yes.
With a couple other people.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain
For 8 hours.
I'm fairly certain I pulled a muscle.
I did too.
So
Again,
if I bend at the wrong angle.
Again, huge shout out to Jim, to Daniel, to Chelsea, and also my good co-host buddy Drew for coming out and helping move my little apartment into a much bigger apartment where
Everything expanded and filled the bigger apartment, meaning before Ashley moves in.
After the wedding.
After the wedding, of course, you are going to have to downsize.
Just a little. Granted, be like, it's all boxes now, but like once you figure out where everything goes and the whole bit, it makes it a little better.
And that will be better, especially once you get the art room.
Yes.
Taken care of.
Oh my gosh, that room is a tornado right now.
Yeah. So,
all right. So yes, I watched Tangled. And you said that. I was like, I'm just going to keep this in a little pocket until we get to watch. And then it's like, yep. Because I did not make that connection even after watching Tangled again.
the same week.
The same week.
Okay.
So, and so then I was like, you know what? I just look at my.
I will say Pascal is cuter than Puka.
Yeah, it's true.
But anyway, continue.
Anyways, so I watched Scoop.
Okay.
And it's. I would give it this. I would think the performance of Fred Jones by Zac Efron was, to me, it was a lot better. Now, granted, they do make him more of a dumb jock, which I don't like, because never a dumb jock.
They had been kind of doing that in the more comedic versions of Scooby-Doo in the last couple of years. So.
That is true.
They don't know how to do someone who's, a serious character.
No, they don't. But.
Because they don't know how to write straight men.
That's true. I didn't finish the film because I got busy. And there's one YouTube channel I wanted to plug really quick. It is called Part-Time Drifter. It's from Brian Rafe. He's been on our show. He was on Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Go listen to that episode. And he started a van life of living in a van. And It's interesting. Like, if you want to go support him on that, go over to youtube.com and look up Part-Time Drifter and let him know, be like, the Cellcast sent you. And yeah, I watched the first episode. It was a good episode. It was having to what is it where you have to throw it audible. For what's going on. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious to where he's going to go with his van life and his journeys through that. And so yeah, it'd be like, if you want to go, watch Brian do stuff in a van and camp and the whole bit, go visit him there. And yeah, that's what I've been watching and listening to a lot of stuff on the way from hither and thither.
Right.
So what have you been watching, listening to, and most likely playing?
Well, at the risk of being repetitive,
Kingdom Hearts. No. Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Yes.
I am now at the point where I can go to Nibelheim outside of the flashback and see how much of a liar. I don't think this is where we find out how much of a liar Cloud is, but things are going to start getting a little weirder now. So yeah. And then, this morning, this afternoon, after I got back from getting you back, I threw in, we're both technically in a 200 new movie challenge in which both of us are losing badly.
Yeah, very.
Like, I'm at 25.
I don't know. I think I'm at like 12, 13.
There might be one or two other things I've seen in there that I have not included, but I can't remember.
Well,
from between Godzilla -1 and Wednesday, I did not note anything.
Well, for me, I kind of lost interest because I would post things and then it would get flagged. It would get flagged and I couldn't post anything except on my own page for like a week. And I would do it again. I get flagged again.
That's weird.
Yeah. I was like, okay, guy who's running the page, wink, wink, nudge, Jim Bob. What's going on?
I blame the ducks.
You blame the ducks?
Have I never said that on this show?
No. I was like, blame the ducks?
Yes, I blame the ducks.
Mighty Ducks? DuckTales? Woo. What ducks?
The ones that you shoot in Duck Hunt.
Oh my God.
No.
Stupid dog.
The joke, I've had this stupid joke for years.
Okay.
Many years. It predates you by a long shot.
Okay.
And it's just anytime there is something like, I don't know what the issue is, or whatever, I say, I blame the ducks because obviously the ducks are out to get you.
Okay.
And I know one specific duck who will not heal me, Donald.
Okay, now I get it.
I blame the ducks. They're all against me. That being said, ducks rock. To quote that cartoon.
Yes, my ducks. Oh my gosh. 90s nostalgia. If you've never heard about it, go watch it. It's fun.
So yeah, before you came over, I started a film.
Yes.
Forbidden Planet.
How does that
is a 1950s science fiction film.
Oh,
it's not a B film. It's definitely an A film. It is where the hardest working robot in film history in Hollywood got his start. Robbie the Robot.
Got it.
It really does feel like you're watching an episode of Star Trek, but not as. It's obviously a 50s movie too. You know what I mean? It's definitely it's very pulp science fiction-y. And there's something I actually just like about that feel.
Really?
It feels kind of. It feels like they've actually even when they say some weird, strange things, that's not how science works in real life.
Right.
It really actually feels like they've actually thought about it, and the only reason this is not matching what we understand via science is because we didn't know about that at that time, that sort of thing. And strangely enough, it takes place in the 23rd century also. But yeah, I started watching it. I need to finish it. I'm about halfway through it, but yeah, that's pretty much the only thing I had a chance to watch this week. So yeah, and the only other thing I played was Sea of Thieves on the thing. So
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
So yeah, the only other game I played was Sea of Thieves.
Okay,
some friends of mine up in Commerce that are in Greenville now. I think they're in Commerce. I've been playing with him for like years.
Yeah.
Since I moved down here to this apartment on Monday nights, and things have come and gone with availability and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And he said, "Hey, you want to play Sea of Thieves with me on Monday?" I said, "Sure, I'll play with you." So yeah, that's an interesting game. I may actually stream that game. I had forgotten about it. So
Gotcha.
I haven't decided what I'm doing. So yeah, I did play that. So I guess that's what we've been watching.
Yeah.
How about we go ahead and talk about the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why? Thank you, Dila. And getting into the news, a little bit of this kind of bleeds over from last week, but it's worth mentioning because a lot of it kind of came forth in the news this week. The first trailer of Paramount's most anticipated Transformers 1 was released early on this previous Thursday.
Yesterday, as of this recording.
Yesterday, this recording on a Friday. Did you see the trailer?
I've seen it. I haven't watched it with the audio on. I just caught like snippets on Facebook.
Okay.
It looks good.
It's interesting. I like Chris Hemsworth as a young Orion Pax or a young Optimus Prime. But yes, the new trailer just dropped. It was originally set to release in July, but the film is now being released in September 2nd or September 20th of 2024. If you haven't seen the trailer, we have the trailer over on our Facebook page.
It is on the Facebook page.
And so go check it out there. It's interesting.
It's either in the page or in the group. I don't know which.
Yeah, it's not in the group.
I need to find a way to automatically post stuff that gets posted to our page in the group. But anyway,
I agree. So going forward with that, this hit this little bit here. I think I doubled my page. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Aang the Last Airbender, kind of the same way with Transformers 1, kind of got pushed back a little bit. So initially it was supposed to come out. Let's see. I think it's September 10th, September 20th. And then it got updated on the calendar that Aang the Last Airbender went from October 2025 to January 20th, 2026. So we won't see this one for at least another year and a half, 2 years. So I know this man right here is probably very excited about this little bit of news.
I was wondering if you were going to tap on this, if it's what I'm thinking it is.
To quote this character who said this a lot in a few of his early films, whoa.
You don't know how excited I am that Keanu Reeves is the one voicing Shadow. Because Shadow is a product of as much as Sonic is a product of early 90s attitude, Shadow is a product of 2000s attitude, and we all know what fueled 2000s attitude. It was the frickin' Matrix.
That is true.
Neo voicing Shadow is like perfect casting. I was excited but confused when Idris Elba got casted as Knuckles, because it's like, this does not seem like an Idris Elba part. Like one he would accept, even though it does make sense.
It makes perfect sense.
And now he's got a TV show coming out next week.
Yeah.
But Keanu Reeves voicing Shadow is like, good night. Shadow is basically based off that performance of Neo as it is. So this is perfect casting. I'm actually very excited for this. I'm curious now how this will actually how it'll go. So
Yeah.
and I've been curious ever since we saw that black and red hedgehog in the capsule at the end of Sonic 2.
Yes.
But
yes. So yes,
I'm just saying there's a lot more Crush 40 songs now I want in that movie.
of course. So Keanu Reeves from the Matrix films and John Wick apparently is providing his voice for the classic character of Sonic the Hedgehog for
Shadow the Hedgehog.
I knew it.
This is the year of Shadow.
Yeah. Shadow the Hedgehog for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Apparently there was a sneak peek at Cinecon a couple weeks ago.
Which that trailer still hasn't gotten released.
Nope, not yet. But let's see. The movie will open December 20th, 2024.
December 20th?
December 20th.
For some reason I thought it was at the beginning of December, but that's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have for in the news.
Well, on that note then, in our next quarter, no, I'm kidding. I'm leaning too much into that Dueling Anyas joke.
Yes.
Let's just go into Spy Family.
Bond. James Bond Jr. Impossible. Call me big man if you wanna reach me. When you wanna face me, it's okay.
The man called Flintstone.
What an agent, what a squirrel. He's got the country in a whirl. What's his name? Shh, secret swirl.
Johnny Quest.
Anybody want a peanut?
I still love that.
I love that.
That's so good.
This is the best joke I came up with for that.
Agreed.
Spy Family Mission 7, The Target's Second Son. Directed by Kazuki Horiguchi and written by Tomomi Kawaguchi. Synopsis for this one. On Anya's first day of school, Lloyd attempts to get her to apologize to Damien in hopes of salvaging the plan for the two to become friends. Unfortunately, Damien's conflicting feelings for Anya may get in the way of this.
I freaking love this episode.
New cast in this episode, we get the full debut of Yuri Breyer, who previously we heard his voice back in episode 2.
Yeah.
He is played by Kensho Ono in the Japanese version and Dallas Reed in English. Mm-hmm. Trivia for this episode, it adapts chapters 9 and 10 of the manga, and it ends the Eden Beginnings arc.
Gotcha.
Anya's nickname for Damien is translated in both the English subtitles and the dub as Second Son instead of the manga's Scion Boy.
Interesting.
Spelled SY-ON. The nameplate on Anya's door, which also appeared in the anime's third episode, that spells her name A-N-I-A instead of A-N-Y-A, is shown to be metallic in the show, while in the manga it was a wooden plate with the name carved into it. The anime exclusive content in this, the episode opens with a new scene of Lloyd preparing breakfast while going over the current progress of Operation Strix. At the end of the scene, he squeezes the ketchup bottle too hard and ketchup splatters onto the omelet.
Like blood.
After Yor wakes up, it's shown that Lloyd has given himself the omelet with the splattered ketchup while giving Yor and Anya the good omelets. Like a good man.
Yes.
Like a good father and husband.
Yes.
Some of the insults that Ewan and Emil make at Anya in their thoughts are removed and mainly focus on her legs and face. While the boys insult Anya, the scene changes to Anya transforming into a tanuki and falling over with little Anya demons in the background.
Oh, I love that. Now, the thing was with that scene particularly, I was like, wait a minute, these guys know that, like, she punched Damon, right?
They know who she is.
Well, yeah, they know what she did,
but she's also obviously broken up, and they're taking advantage of.
Oh yeah.
That.
But you just Just a thought. You would think boys that age would be like, oh crap, be like she beat up the boss, be like, do I really want to try messing with this girl? She might do the exact same thing to me. Mm-hmm. But continue.
The scene of Anya sitting on her bed and remembering her promise to Lloyd in episode 5 that she would work real hard while holding a pencil in her hand was added. Mm-hmm. And in Anya's classroom, a character who will be introduced much later, George Glooman, makes his first appearance here, watching Anya while the other kids gossip about her. The character will make, like I said, will make his debut much later in the manga. And last but not least, if you did not catch this, I will be disappointed.
Okay.
When Damien is remembering his other Anya again in those other scenes, as he's obviously falling in love.
Yes.
Did you notice that they were not reusing footage? That they actually redrew Anya to make her cuter in his eyes.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
That to me is the coolest.
I was like,
detail.
Whoa!
It's like,
wait a minute,
because they could have just reused the same shots.
Yeah,
but you can actually. I wish I had it, and I will find this and put it in the Facebook group. But there was when this episode came out, there was a comparison picture that someone made of those same shots between the episode how it happened and how he's remembering it. It's like, oh, they put a lot of work into making sure this worked.
Agreed.
So yeah. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Oh my gosh, this was so good. It's Anya trying to be her best, trying to make her daddy proud, and like I gotta apologize. And this girl keeps getting in the way, and I'm convinced because this show is more be like it's showing you something, you know something's gonna lead to it. Mm-hmm. You know it. I'll be like, unless I am dead wrong, be like this character, this lady something.
Becky?
Yeah, Lady Becky.
Oh, Becky Blackwell is her name.
Lady Blackwell. And I know Lloyd, aka Twilight, does say something about it. That it's like, what is she, a spy or something? She's trying to do this and this. I'm convinced she's a spy, or she's the daughter of a spy, or something like that. And I, by that grin, by that expression, I'm right.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
And I'd like to point out, all this means is I know something. It doesn't tell you what I know.
But it gives me an indication I might be right in some capacity.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay then. But it's like you get this, you get oh my gosh, the point where it'd be like I don't like using the word cute when it comes to kids so much, but oh my gosh, this entire scene where Anya is trying to apologize. Her father has gotten Becky away, has pulled her away in order for Anya to apologize, and the two jerkwads are just picking on her mercilessly, and she breaks down and cries and does her apologies. It's so freaking cute. And then you have Damien, he's like, his heart's pounding out of his chest, he doesn't know what's going on, and it's just so freaking cute. And the way they draw Anya in that, it's just like, oh my gosh, cute overload.
Oh yes, you can feel your teeth rotting watching
it. My gosh, yes. It was such a great episode. It's where it be like Anya's trying her best to make the apologies, trying to make her daddy proud. Be like it's to save the world. It's to bring international peace or something like that. But it's so well done because there's this sense of urgency and sense of sincerity that everything has to go the exact way. And Lloyd, every time something happens, he's like, oh great, the mission failed, something. And then this really deep level, this really nice coded level of sarcasm and humor the entire time. And I love it so much. And I can't remember if yours not in this episode. Or she is, but it's minimal.
She has a minimal role in this one because she's just there at the beginning and says, I guess it's when they're seeing Anya off, and says, I guess it's time for us to go to work now.
Yes.
That's pretty much all she does in this one.
Yeah. And I agree. I'd be like, obviously, because Lloyd, aka Twilight, is just going to follow Anya around as the new guy. And
I love all his little ways of trying to send Anya messages. My favorite was during science class. And they're all looking at the mirror reflection, and and Lloyd is given a special one that says, "You need to apologize, sir." She says, "Is this a message from God?" I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now.
It's like, why is she not getting this? What is wrong with her?
It's like she knows it's not her fault. Back off, Lloyd.
Like the one that got me was like, it was like the one where they're going to lunch and it's been carved into the bushes.
Yes,
that was great. I was like, Lloyd, calm down.
Or where it's written on her rice omelet.
Yes, it's like sorry. Say sorry.
I'm never ordering that.
And he's being very analytical with everything.
Yes.
And he's trying to just like be like, I wonder if I'm coming off too strong or not. It's like, you think, Lloyd?
No, Becky's the problem.
Yeah, Becky's the problem. I got to get this girl out of the way.
Which Becky's not helping.
No.
Anya has been trying all morning
to apologize.
It's like, Lloyd, back off.
Just a little
Quit
bit.
pressuring her. She's trying.
Yeah.
Bless her heart. She's trying.
And like she finally does get around to apologizing, but Damien is so overwhelmed by his emotions and be like, I think I like this girl, but his young self is like, no, I can never apologize.
And does not know how to deal with the feelings of love that he's feeling for the first time. And is convinced that can't be what that is. I must be. It's like, oh, yes, I'm angry. That's what this is.
I'm angry.
I'm so angry at this Uggo. It's like,
yeah, Uggo. Wow,
that's his demeaning name for her is Uggo. Because he thinks she's ugly. Or that's what he's claiming.
That's what he's claiming, but he knows it's a different view from his perspective.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I love this episode. It's so good. It's so funny. And it just has this like deep levels of just like sarcasm, humor, like real high stakes, but at the same time it's got this real nice grease level of just comedy on it. And it's so well done. All the characters are done very well. The characters that we know. And again, like with the episodes I've seen, it's when they made a character, when you meet a character, you know they're going to come back as some kind of spy, some kind of informant in any fashion or form. That's just Becky is going to be some kind of informant for some organization that is trying to find Twilight, maybe, or they're trying to find Anya or something like that. What I'm thinking is probably Anya. It's like she is part of this organization trying to find Anya.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay. Okay. So yes, I really enjoy this episode. After watching a few episodes, you start to realize the patterns. You realize, oh, okay, they're pointing this character out. Why is Lloyd talking about this character? Why are they focusing on this one character named Becky? It's like, okay, she's going to come into play later. And the next episode, it's like, okay, he's has something to do with something.
All I am going to say is it is just possible that Becky's her best friend.
And a spy. That's how this show works. Everybody in some capacity is either working for the government, working for the other government, or trying to get Anya in some capacity. There's something about this. Just saying, because I'm pretty sure I'm right in some capacity. So
I love being on this side of things for once.
Yes, it's hilarious. It is hilarious. I think with the passage of time in 5 years of doing this to a reviewer, like you've honed in on how things work, or like looking at plots and watching all of this unravel. It's like, okay, I see where this is coming from. I think I know where this is going, but I'm not gonna put my pin on it, because you never know. It's storytelling. But I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. It's so funny. Definitely when Damon doesn't know what to do with his emotions and he's like, oh yes, I'm angry. I'm going to run off. It was great. It was so great. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode tremendously. And poor little Anya trying to do her best, just bawling. The money shot of she's looking up at Damon trying to apologize and just like cuteness overload. But yeah. I like this episode. It was great. Episode
Mission 8. The Counter Secret Police Cover Operation.
Oh, gosh.
Directed by Yukiko Amai and written by Rino Yamazaki. Summary for this episode. Yor's younger brother, Yuri, is a member of the Estonian secret police, hunting spies while keeping it a secret. But when he shows up at the Forger's residence, their secrets come face to face. New cast for this episode. And I do want to point out, when I am listing a cast member, it's because I know they come back up later.
Of course.
Any of the minor characters, I am not mentioning them. And I say that because this week we have the SSS Lieutenant, who we've never been given a name for. Played by Yasuyuki Kase in the Japanese version and Aaron Campbell in the English.
Gotcha.
First bit of trivia for this is actually a trivia about myself.
Okay.
When I watched this episode.
Uh-oh.
It was not until this episode that I realized that Yor was an assassin for Estonia. For whatever reason, in my mind, she worked for a competing... she was still on the Westalis side with Lloyd, but was working for another organization, and they just didn't know.
Oh.
In my mind, that's how it was. And I watched this episode, and I realized... They're in Estonia, not Westalis. Okay, they're not on the. Oh. Just to put that out there, just to show I can mess stuff up too.
Okay, so just for understanding, are they working for the same side or are they working
They're
opposing?
working on opposing sides.
That's what I thought.
Lloyd is working for the Westalis Intelligence Service.
Yes.
I don't remember what the E is.
Yeah.
But it spells wise.
Yeah.
She is working for, well, her boss is called the Shopkeeper.
Yeah.
I do not remember off the top of my head what the actual name of her organization is, but it is very plant themed.
Yeah. So she works for the other country.
But she's working technically for Estonia well, exactly how her assassin organization works within Estonia's government, I still don't think we've been shown.
Right.
But she is working for a group over there.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Okay. In the anime, Millie is much more clearly present during Jim Hayward's detention than in the manga. The emblem of the State Security Service
Oh my gosh, yeah.
does not feature the organization's name or initials like in the manga. The anime does not mention that the photos from the lovey-dovey marriage kit are doctored.
Okay.
When Anya falls asleep, she falls onto Lloyd's lap. In the manga, she falls to the opposite side of the couch. The anime excludes the following scene of Lloyd and Yor bringing Anya to her bedroom and their brief conversation while doing so. In the manga, Yuri brought orchids instead of roses like he does in the anime. But the key visual that they released for this episode in Japan actually showed him with orchids.
Oh.
So that's just a weird thing.
That is weird.
The bridge shown while Yuri waxes eloquent about his supposed trip to Hungary bears a more than passing resemblance to the Chain Bridge. It links the two old cities of Buda and Pest, now united as Budapest, Hungary. Especially Budapest was a hotbed of spy activity during the Cold War.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Lloyd states in the manga that he would protect Yor against bullets and nukes, while in the anime he says he would do it against spears and meteors.
I was more like Yor. I was like, meteors? I didn't realize how serious this was.
In the manga, when Yuri questions Lloyd and Yor's marriage, the two show him one of the fake photos of them as a couple. In the anime, they instead join hands together to form a heart so as not to disrupt the flow of the scene.
Wow.
That's what I've got for the trivia for this.
Wow. I'm just saying.
This is a fun episode.
Oh, you're not kidding.
First off, Yor and Yuri are both idiots. If her, I forgot to tell you about my marriage for a year works, if that excuse works, y'all are both idiots.
I agree. I was like, wait.
I did forget to mention that trivia. Technically, Yuri has a bit of a big sister relationship, if you catch my meaning.
Oh.
He's attracted.
Oh, jeez.
It's not that bad.
Okay.
It's more like if it would have ever occurred to him, he might have done that. But he's that's why he's that protective of your.
Anime is weird.
It's anime.
I know that. Yeesh. Ah. Anyways, can we move along with the geek stuff? Thank you.
I'm just saying he is more jealous of Lloyd in the scene than anything else, because he does not suspect that Lloyd is Twilight.
Yeah, I've never understood that.
I don't either. I'm just like, that is actually the thing, is that he's got an attraction for his big sis.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Weird. Anyway,
plus, I have to mention my favorite scene in this whole episode, and that is Yuri's flashback to Yor coming home.
Oh yeah,
covered in blood, and going, "Yor, are you okay? Oh, I'm all right. This isn't my blood." And that passes. I was like,
these two, jeez.
Oh my word. It's like, and his only excuse when he says is, she worked herself bloody so that I could learn. It's like, yeah, that's what was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Technically, yes, she did work herself and make money so that you would be able to have an education. She didn't work herself bloody.
Yeah,
she worked other people bloody.
My gosh. But oh my gosh, this episode is so, because we already met the brother.
We heard his voice in episode 2. We got a scene of him at the end of the last episode during the after credits scene.
Oh yeah,
and we know he was friends with the snarky girl's boyfriend.
Yes,
which is why Yor had to got into this situation in the first place.
Yes. Yeah, so this entire, like, how do you pronounce his name?
Yuri.
Okay, Yuri. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So this scene be like, it's again the way they structure the storytelling, the way they reveal characters. It's okay. You get Yuri. It's okay. It's like, oh, I didn't realize my sister got married a year ago. I can't believe she never called me. And this is like, wait a minute. They're focusing on this character way too much. What's going to happen next? And it's like, of course, he works counterintelligence.
Oh, yeah.
And he freaking tortures people.
And he's very good at it.
Yeah, he's good at it. And it's like, be like two siblings who are very good at torturing people.
Yor does not torture.
She kills. He kills. That's okay. There's the difference. He just likes to torture people. She actually likes to kill people.
They would make a very good team if they were aware of their secrets.
Yes, a show that is full of secrets and mystery, and our poor little Anya stuck in the middle just knows everything.
No, well, she doesn't know about Yuri yet.
No, she doesn't know about Yuri.
She doesn't know that she's his unkie.
Unkie.
He's her unkie.
Unkie.
He doesn't know about the secret police or what that would even mean. That may be a bit of a spoiler for a joke in the next episode, but either way. But yeah, Anya doesn't know about that, but she's aware of everything else. But the fact that everyone here has secrets that they're keeping from everybody else.
Yes.
There is... Okay, this is a theory. I have no proof of it yet.
Okay.
I suspect that Yor's assassin agency that she works for does not actually work for the Estonian government.
Okay. It's more like a freelance.
It's a freelance thing that does a lot of jobs for the Estonian government, but is not technically connected. And I say that due to some events in season 2.
Okay. I got you. But it's like this episode is more the first front end load of it is more of Anya trying to do school and not doing very well, and how she has to read people's minds to get the answer.
Oh, I loved how she answered the fraction question.
Oh my gosh,
3/3. That's wrong.
That's impeccably wrong
because you were subtracting Anya, not adding.
But I mean, like it's great because you had this family dynamic of Lloyd trying to teach Anya about everything.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to help each other, and they're kind of becoming more and more of a family out of a fake family.
Mm-hmm.
And and the whole reason she wanted to get married because she wanted to have a fake boyfriend for her brother who shows up and is an interrogator,
and she's completely forgotten about it.
Yeah, she's completely forgot about him. And oh my gosh, that was absolutely hysterical. Like watching the lead up to Yuri. Yeah, Yuri showing up to the apartment, and we already know and be like, oh yeah, he works for counterintelligence. He's after Twilight. He's like, I'm gonna catch this guy. I'm really good at what I do. I'm like, oh crap, he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he doesn't know who he's really dealing with. And then we get the interaction where he comes in and he's not the good enough, blah, 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 blah. And when you talk
the
about
overprotective younger brother.
Yeah, he's the overprotective younger brother. Ugh.
But is more overprotective than probably has the right to.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit. Ugh. But it's like, and because I remember, what was it? Yuri talked about how like she gets mad very easily. Apparently her brother is the exact same thing, except they both have an alcohol problem.
They both have an alcohol problem. Neither one really should be drinking alcohol.
Yeah. And so they're like, Lloyd and Yuri are it's like they're trying to measure each other out. And Yuri thinks he's so smart, but he gets like, when he starts to like Lloyd, he gets enraged and he starts drinking more, and he gets more and more blistered about everything. And it's like, oh crap. And then Lloyd's discovering more, and it's like, oh, okay, this guy definitely works for counterintelligence. He's like picking him apart beyond belief. And the end of this episode, I am cracking up because Yuri is like, it's like he starts grilling them about everything, be like, what is this and this, like, what's the deal with all those questions? And it's like, yeah, he definitely works for counterintelligence. It's like, okay, it'd be like, it's like when be like, oh, okay, like when the two of them they back off, you go kind of real making the ruse a little more aware, and it's just like, oh no. And it's like, okay, prove it. Why don't you kiss each other if you're madly in love with each other? And then Lloyd's more like, well, be like,
that's all it's gonna take. Sure,
no problem. And then yours like,
wait till you see how this goes.
But it was so freaking funny. It was like, Lloyd's like, okay, let's do this. It's part of the mission. No problem. I made plenty of women.
He's probably done worse than that.
Oh yeah. And then yours is like, oh my gosh, this is being terrible. He's gonna figure out our scheme. You don't know the half of it. But oh my gosh, that is so freaking funny. And then obviously you have Anya, who is she is trying to do her best to make her father proud, her papa proud.
In this episode, she was trying her best to stay awake long enough to meet her unkie.
Yeah,
and she fails miserably.
But yeah, I love this episode. Definitely how it leaves on the climax of where it's and Lloyd are about to kiss, and it's just like the total different reactions. Lloyd is calm and cool. Yeah, let's just do this. It's part of the mission. I've made out with plenty of women for missions. And then yours just freaking the heck out of oh my gosh, no.
She doesn't know what to do with it.
She doesn't know what to do with it. Be like, I can't kill him. But yeah, I mean, like, I love this episode. It's so good, and I can't wait for the next episodes to come up. And then we get this episode. We get next week's episode.
Next week's episode will finish off. Well, I should say this started the Yuri arc, or I think it's like the counterintelligence arc is what they call it.
Okay, got it.
And then it will finish off in the next episode, and then we get the greatest tournament arc in anime history.
There's a tournament arc.
Every good shonen anime has a tournament arc.
I wasn't aware this was a shonen.
It is a shonen.
Okay.
It was published in Shonen Jump.
Okay.
It is technically a shonen, and it does have a tournament arc. It's a volleyball tournament.
Wow. Okay.
And by tournament, I mean one game.
All right.
But
yeah, I love this. I can't wait for the next episodes. And then we have a little bit of a hiatus.
Well, that's the thing. I figured up the next. Let me bring up the thing. Hang on. I was not on that page. Where to go? There it is. So yeah, we got 7 and 8 tonight. Next week we'll have 9 and 10.
Okay.
And then 11 and 12, and that's where the stop will be.
Okay.
So we will actually finish this May the 3rd.
Okay.
Or this first half. And then we will be taking a hiatus on TAS episodes until after the wedding hiatus.
Got it.
We'll be coming back after that. Which,
nice.
We need to be thinking about what we're coming back to in August before you go on the hiatus.
All right.
We need to have that planned.
All right.
There's some live planning for you on the show, folks. So yeah, join us next week for that. Do you have anything else to add before we cut out of here?
Nah, I think I'm good.
All right. So in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron.
And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen.
His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming.
On YouTube at Cellcast.
On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Dead. All the Romanovs are dead. They're dead.
Cuteness overload!